And now the outfield is going to claim that it's wedged under the wall. Aviles keeps running. Will they allow him to score?
That's the first time I've seen that play here. That's the first time I've seen a ball lodge underneath the padding like that. What a heads-up play by Adam Jones.
After a bizarre play and a Baltimore win last night, Bruce Chen takes the mound against one of his former teams in the final and deciding game of this series next on Fox Sports Kansas City. School Day at the K is an annual field trip to Kauffman Stadium so kids can learn about weather and watch the Royals. Well, they've watched it rain all morning. Now we're hoping they'll see Game 3 between the Royals and the Orioles. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. I'm Ryan Lefevre. We've had 2 one-run games with the Royals winning on Tuesday 6-5, losing last night 3-2, and close games because of a bullpen that now has 26 consecutive scoreless innings.
Well, the bullpen has been outstanding all year, Ryan, and that's the one piece of this puzzle that's really pulled the Royals together. But Nate Adcock was a forgotten guy coming out of spring training, but lately he's been the guy that everybody's paid a lot of attention to.
A 2.03 ERA in his first 6 major league games. We knew about Aaron Crow and Tim Collins and Jeremy Jeffress, a little bit about Lewis Coleman, but almost nothing about Nate Adcock.
Well, the one thing that they noticed about him early was his ability to throw the ball downhill. His sinker was outstanding, and they really just brought him along slowly at the start of the season. But of late, because of the starting pitching and the bullpen getting a lot of work, he's been able to be seen more, and we see that he's got the stuff that everybody thought he had.
An excellent 2 1/3 innings last night. So when you total it up over the last 7 games, this young bullpen, 26 consecutive scoreless innings, and the league is just hitting .127 against the bullpen. We also didn't know what to expect from Jeff Francoeur, but he leads the Royals in home runs and RBIs. He has a home run in 3 consecutive games. We'll have more from Kauffman Stadium right after this. offensively this afternoon. Gordon, Cabrera, Francoeur in the outfield. Mike Avila shifts over to third. Wilson Betemit at first. And Brian Pena is behind the plate. And what would a Royals game be without a great defensive play? And we had another one last night with this flashy double play with Alcides Escobar connecting with Mike Aviles. It's the Royals and the Orioles, and the first pitch is next. Fortunately, however, it's only going to be about 30-35 minutes. We expect to see a first pitch of about 1:45 today as the Royals and Orioles wrap up a 3-game series. Welcome back to the Fox Sports Kansas City broadcast booth with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. I'm Ryan Lefevre. We're going to join the guys out at Rivals and have a little discussion about the bizarre play in the 8th inning last night. Joe Goldberg, Paul Splittorff, and Jeff Montgomery are out there. I want to know if we can find out at all, and you might know, Frank, Split might know, but the genesis of the rule, was it first intended just in case the ball got behind the padding, or maybe got behind those strips of padding on the chain link fence? I don't think anybody thought that the rule would result in the ball just being jammed between the padding and the dirt.
Well, I have to agree with you on that one, Ryan, but anytime the rule states that anytime the ball becomes lodged, then it's considered a ground rule double if the outfielder doesn't try to go in and get it. If he throws his hands up, the umpire goes out and take a look at it, then he sees that the ball is not moving and it's underneath something, then they can call that a lodged baseball.
Let's go back and look at the play last night. This was in the 8th inning with a runner at first base, and that runner at first base, Alcides Escobar, was going to score. And Adam Jones throwing his arms in the air before he attempted to touch it. If he attempts to touch it, I believe that changes the rule.
It changes, yes.
It then becomes a ground rule double. That is a ground rule here at Kauffman Stadium if the ball gets stuck in the padding. And guys, out in Rivals, the first thing that popped into my mind is, what a heads-up play by Adam Jones.
Yeah, a couple of thoughts. Monty and I went down and actually talked with Tim Welke today, and Mike DeMuro, Jim Reynolds, and Andy Fletcher, and visited with them for about 10 minutes. You're right, Ryan. It's a ground rule of Kauffman Stadium, but it's not a Kauffman Stadium ground rule. It's a universal ground rule, meaning if that happens at any baseball stadium in the major leagues and the player doesn't touch that ball, then that is going to be the result. What Tim Welke told us it happened in Philadelphia a couple years ago. The guys talked about it last night. Happens at Wrigley Field a lot too, but that's for any baseball stadium.
Right. It's kind of similar to when a ball bounces on the warning track and goes out. That's just a rule that is intact for any ballpark. You mentioned Wrigley Field. Ball gets in the ivy. Same thing. If you go in and make an attempt to bring it out, it's a free for all for the base runner.
You talk about that ball right there. What really makes it hard is you can see it. Everybody in the ballpark sees the ball. Now, other than that, I have seen it lodged in between the pads. All you have to do is go in and pull it out belt high. My thought, Frank, is they're circling the bases, and my outfielder's standing up there with his hands up. Hey, I'll go get it. I don't know that I want to take that gamble or not.
Well, Paul, you're right about that. I think that was probably the biggest gamble that Adam Jones took, was the fact that he knows he's going to give up one run and a potential tying runs on third base. But by taking that action, and Mike scores, if he doesn't rule in their favor, it is a tie ball game. But I think he had to be aware of the rule. And I think that as long as the ball is underneath, where you just couldn't, you can see him actually go down and attempt to get it, but he backed off of it because he couldn't just go down and get the ball right away without it being underneath the padding. So it was a great gamble on his part, and the Orioles won that play.
And if I can add one thing to it, just adding to what Joel said about the universal rule, is that when the umpire went out there to look at it, he didn't get close enough to decide for himself whether it could have been removed with two fingers, as Adam Jones eventually did. He got close enough just to notice that it was wedged. So in some ways he had to be an objective participant there. He didn't go all the way in, and just as we cut away there, that's about the time when Tim Welke stopped and said, "Nope, it's wedged in there." And now we see that it wasn't lodged severely in there. If Adam Jones wanted to pull it out, he could have. However, as we said last night, we say again today, that's just a heads-up play on his part. All right, let's see who's heads up today as we take a look at our Sprint You Call It question for today. And in this final game of the series with the Orioles, the strangest stuck situation at Kauffman Stadium. Was it the ball? Was it the squirrel that got stuck on the other side of the scoreboard? He wasn't used to that with the new renovated The Cardinals for 3 on the next homestand, and that's May 16th through May the 22nd. So Bruce Chen takes the mound against one of his former teams, and every time he takes the mound, there's a good chance he will be facing one of his former teams, having played for the Braves, Phillies, Mets, Expos, Reds, Astros, Red Sox, Blue Jays, Orioles, Rangers, and now the Royals. Did you get all that, Frank?
I got it all. I can't recite them in order, but I know it's a lot.
He is going for his 4th win, trying to improve to 4-1. When Bruce was with the Baltimore Orioles, that was 2004 through 2006. In the middle of that, he had his best career season with them, or best season of his career, 13-10 in 2005, and then last year the second most wins in his career when he had 12 wins for the Royals. Baltimore Orioles are playing very well. They've won 6 of their last 9 games. They have a winning road trip no matter what happens today, after taking 3 out of 4 in Chicago, and now they've split the first 2 games here in Kansas City. A surprise team in the American League and in the American League East. Remember, they got off to that great start, winning 6 of their first 7. Then they lost 8 in a row, but 1 game below 500 and 3.5 back of first place New York. First full season for Buck Showalter with the Baltimore Orioles after previously managing the Yankees, the Diamondbacks, and the Rangers.
You have to think the Red Sox never expect to see themselves at the bottom of that Eastern Division. They've got a long way back.
And how about their game last night and playing a day game today, as Brian Roberts fouls the first pitch away. They played until almost 3 a.m. at Fenway Park last night against the Angels, only to come back and play a day game today. Roberts had a root canal Tuesday morning, so he was not in the lineup that night, but returned last night and opened the game with a double. Came around to score the game's first run and finished the night 1 for 5.
Well, they really need for Brian Roberts to stay healthy. I mean, he's the guy at the top of the order that can not only hit a home runner in the first inning, but he's a guy that can steal bases, and they need his defense at second base.
That double, by the way, last night was on an 0-2 pitch. This 0-2 pitch misses outside. He is not very big. He is 5'9", 175. At least that's what the media guide lists him at. However, he swings a big bat. He has had 3 different seasons where he's had at least 50 doubles, and he's had at least 5 seasons with 40 doubles or more. Adam reaching, and it's an easy play for Chris Getz. 1 down.
That's what we talked about in the open, Ryan. This is what Bruce has to do. He's got to keep the Oriole hitters off balance. And this is a nice changeup. Got Brian Roberts out front, and by getting him out front, created a nice easy pop up for Getz at second base.
And now Nick Markakis. Markakis is feeling a little better at the ballpark today than he did last night. He had 2 hits in last night's game. His 3rd home run of the year. He was in a long slump prior to that. Now a sinking line drive to center, and Melky traps it with a backhand. So Markakis has a 1-out single.
Bruce makes another nice pitch here. He jams him right here, and you don't usually see that backhand trap too often unless the guy's diving for the ball. And Melky came up. As you can see, he easily trapped it on 1 hop right into his glove.
And now a drive to deep left field, but Derek Lee was just a little bit out in front. Plenty of distance.
I wonder if Melky had any designs or maybe dive for that ball. You know, he knows he's on wet turf and probably was a little afraid to do that. But that's one of those short hops that, you know, a lot of times you go sliding into, trying to do that short hop right into the glove. But a little little basket catch right on it, but he just opted to come in and try to catch it on the run.
And sometimes an outfielder gets to the point of no return where it's too late to stop and play it conservatively on a nice big bounce, and then you realize you're not going to get there in time for a diving catch, so you just kind of go in hockey goalie defense mode.
You just pray you can keep it in front of you. That's about it at that point.
Markakis has 1 stolen base this year. The Orioles have 1 stolen base in this series. Very high in the air, up into the clouds in left center field. Melky brings it down. Markakis will tag, and he will advance with 2 outs. 53 degrees. So we started 35 minutes late. Time and temp brought to you by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCI. So runner at second base, 2 down, and Vladimir Guerrero at the plate. 1 for 4 with a walk and 2 runs scored on Tuesday. He was not in the lineup last night. Guerrero's walk was his first this year, and it was in his 115th plate appearance. I think Vladimir Guerrero lies in bed at night and stares at the ceiling and worries about his on-base percentage.
Not even close. I think he worries about where's the next pitch location is going to be. He probably think more about his slugging percentage than his on-base percentage.
Well, he's going to get a walk here. It'll be intentional, and the Royals know that he will be swinging on 3-0 and 3-1 and 3-2. So with an open base, they will control their own fate and put him on for Adam Jones. Producer Kevin Shank said it wouldn't have been a surprise if he would have taken a rip at one of those pitches. Well, if it's in the ballpark, he's swinging.
Well, we've seen him hit a ball bounce. The ball bounced in front of the plate one time, and we saw him hit that ball for a base hit. So he covers a lot of territory when he's up at that plate.
And now strike on Adam Jones. 4 hits in the first 2 games, but nobody is talking about that. What everybody, including us, is talking about is the non-play in left center field last night, allowing the ball to stay lodged between the padding and the warning track and turning what could have been an RBI triple in the 8th inning for the Royals into a rule book double. Orioles ended up winning that game by 1 run. Line to right field. Francoeur has it on 1 bounce, but all of his momentum was taking him towards the right field line. His throw is close to get Guerrero, but it flies over all the cutoff men, and into second base goes Adam Jones, and Baltimore takes a 1-0 lead.
Well, I think you're right. Bruce threw a real nice changeup down and away, but he got this pitch up, and Jones went right away with it. That's why I say you got to pitch this out a little bit more to keep him off those balls away. But I think the biggest thing there is that high throw. The high throw trying to get Guerrero going to third. That just allowed Adam Jones to advance 90 feet to second base. You always got to keep the throws down, and that'll hold that batter runner to first base.
And it is scored a single, and Jones going to second on the throw from right field. Now ball 1 to Luke Scott. Scott hit a 3-run home run in game 1 on Tuesday. 3 out of 8 in the series. Just foul outside of first base. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, we did get a lot of rain today, and even though the infield part of the infield was covered, the outfield is pretty damp. So those outfielders are going to have to make sure they get a good grip on the ball before they throw it back to the infield.
Yeah, the area that looks most affected, of course we can't see the moisture on the grass, but the warning track all the way around Kauffman Stadium took a pretty good beating from the rain. Bruce drops down and misses outside, 2-1. Bruce took a no decision on Friday, the first game of this homestand. That was against Minnesota. The Royals ended up winning that game 4-3, and they took Bruce off the hook. When he left in the 6th inning, the Royals were down 3-1. Popped up to the left side. Escobar wants it, and that's the inning. For the second straight game, the Orioles take a 1-0 lead. Deciding game of this series. The Royals lineup presented by Southwest Airlines. Chris Getz back in there and leading off at second base. Wilson Betemit is at first base for the second time in 3 games. Mike Aviles shifts over to third. And with the lefty on the mound, Brian Pena is behind the plate. And they will face right-hander Chris Tillman.
A big guy, Ryan, 6'6", right-hander, fastball, curveball. But one thing the Royals might have an advantage is the first time through the order. He's got a 372 the first time, so he gets better as he goes in the game.
Ball one to Chris Getz. 0 for 5 with a run scored on Tuesday night. This is the 15th time this year that he has led off for the Royals. Now 1-1 from Tillman. Chris Tillman, 23 years old, and like many of the Orioles starting pitchers, a good arm, a bright future, but at the moment not really giving the Orioles a lot of innings per start. In fact, less than 5 innings per start. Off the plate, Andino charges in from short, and that double clutch cost him, and Getz has an infield single.
On a play like this, you're only going to get one shot, and if you'd have to double pump and the guy runs as well as Chris Getz does, it's going to be a base hit. Now, you got to get this ball and you got to catch and throw all in the same motion. One of the things they say about Tillman, Ryan, is that he has good velocity, but he starts slow to build his velocity up, and they want him to try to get to his maximum velocity right away. So the first 2 pitches Chris Getz was 86, then he went to 88. So that's probably why that
Gets his running, and he beats the throw from catcher Jake Fox.
So that's probably why that high average against him first time through is so high. But the Royals are challenging right away, and Chris Guest gets a great jump, steals this base easily.
Melky Cabrera 2 out of 10 in this series. He has driven in 2 runs and thought about bunting Getz over to third base. Up the left field line, and it will drop foul. It has been a couple of years since the Royals have faced Tillman. It was Tillman's major league debut. July 29th of 2009. He took a no decision. The Royals hit 3 home runs against him in 4 2/3 innings. 1 year after coming over to the Orioles in a trade with the Seattle Mariners. A broken bat, and it floats behind second base. Chris Getz is going to be waved home. Jones had difficulty getting the ball out of his glove, and down to second base is Melky Cabrera.
Well, this is a line drive, so Chris reacted the right way. He had to make sure this ball got through into center field, and he went ahead and scored. But after Adam Jones got the ball, there's no cutoff man, so this throw goes all the way to the plate, and so Cabrera is able to go into second base. So with a man on second base, your first baseman's got to come in and be the cutoff guy there, and your second baseman goes to first base. But with no cutoff man there, Cabrera had a clear sailing into second base.
So the Royals tie it right away, and now ball 1 to Alex Gordon. In the first 2 games, Alex is 1 out of 8 with a walk and a run scored, and that walk and run scored came in the 10th inning on Tuesday, and now he rolls it to the right side past Roberts. Melky comes around third base. Markakis' throw is late, and the Royals lead 2-1.
This is one of those base hits here. Alex does a good job of pulling it in the hole. Stays down through the swing. And now you see when Cabrera's coming around, Eddie's waving him all the way. He just never stopped. Now Alex probably could have taken advantage of the high throw and gone into second base, but with Markakis so close to the infield, sometimes that's pretty difficult to do.
Well, Alex just almost took off for second base before Tillman unloaded the pitch.
Well, he's got a high leg kick, and he's slow to the plate. If he's got to speed it up.
So 3 singles, a stolen base mixed in, and the Royals have taken the lead. Nobody out, and Billy Butler, just like Alex Gordon, 1 for 8 with a walk and a run scored in the first 2 games. And now Alex has divided the attention of Chris Tillman. Royals had only 1 stolen base in the first 2 games. That was with Matt Wieters behind the plate. Now Jake Fox is back of the plate for game 3. Alex is flinching over at first base. Didn't get the jump he was hoping for. As Billy hits it to right center, Adam Jones makes the catch, and Alex will stay at first base. So that's the first out of the inning after 3 straight singles and 2 runs. Here's a look at the Orioles defensively today with Luke Scott, Adam Jones, Nick Markakis in the outfield. Around the horn, Mark Reynolds, Robert Andino, Brian Roberts, and Derek Lee, and the backup catcher Jake Fox. And a strike to Jeff Francoeur, who homered last night. He has home runs now in 3 consecutive games, going back to Sunday in the series finale with Minnesota. Last year, with the Mets and the Rangers combined, Jeff Francoeur had 13 home runs. And here we are on May the 5th, and Francoeur already has 8. Alex still bouncing around over at first base, and Francoeur had a very good swing and fouled it straight back. Last time a Royal homered in 4 consecutive games, you have to go back to April of last season, and the man that Francoeur replaced, Jose Guillen. 1-2.
Well, the 1-2 count is always a good count to run on because it's normally a breaking ball count, but it's also an opportunity for the other team to pitch out too. So you got to really, if Alex haven't given anything away over there, they won't pitch out, but they feel like he'll go, then this is a good time to pitch out.
Alex sure looks like he wants to go. It's inside 2-2 on Francoeur. Either that, or he's just trying to convince Tillman that he wants to go. He's bouncing around, flinching, taking jab steps before every pitch.
Well, if he does it while Tillman's looking at him, then that's not a good thing. But I think Tillman commits to the plate, then he moves. But if he gets a good throw over there down low, it might be a close play.
And now a balk on Tillman. It was called by the second base umpire, Jim Reynolds.
Now, that's the first time we've seen him call a balk on that quick move, unless he didn't actually get that right foot off the rubber. Yeah, it looks like when he went to turn, his right foot stayed back on top of the rubber. Doesn't it look like that, or because it doesn't look anything different to me. And
well, it depends on if you go by the actual rule, which is what you're referring to, or what is generally accepted these days, where guys can do that kind of a hop move with both feet moving at the same time.
We've seen it all year, and they haven't called it. This is the first time they've actually called it.
Francoeur strikes out, so 2 down with Gordon at second base. I remember the rule when, if you're a right-hand pitcher, you had to disengage. You had to step off the rubber with your back foot. That had to be the very first movement, and it had to be a clear first movement. But now guys just kind of shift their hips and both feet move at the same time.
Well, that's the quickest way they can get the ball at first base. But you're right, that rule was you did have to break contact with the rubber.
Alex thought about moving up to third base. It's ball 1 to Wilson Bettamy.
We put microphones in all the umpires, and when they call balks, and they could just say it out over the loudspeaker.
Yeah.
A balk was called because.
Below the knees, 2 balls and no strikes. Wilson Bettamy lost a 7-game hitting streak last night. 2 hits in game 1, both doubles, and then hitless last night. His .325 average is 7th best in the American League. Three balls, no strikes. Only 2 Royals in the lineup today have ever faced Chris Tillman. Melky Cabrera had 2 at-bats. Billy Butler had 2 at-bats. Everybody else is seeing him for the first time. 3-1 on Bettamy. Orioles with 1 in the top of the first. The Royals coming right back with 2 in the bottom half. And Bettamy rips it into the right field corner. That is a fair ball. The Royals will take a 3-1 lead. And Bettamy is into second base with his 11th double of the year.
Wilson Bettamy continues to hit out over the plate. He does a good job of just getting through it, keeping it fair. Hits the ball off the wall actually in right field in the corner. And Markakis plays it off the wall nicely, but not in time to get Bettamy going into second base. But he's just got a great idea of how to hit right now.
Orioles pitching coach Mark Connor out to have a chat with Tillman and catcher Jake Fox.
You know, Ryan, for all teams that play well, your reserve guys have to be good players. They have to do good things for you. But Wilson's playing so well, he's almost at a point where he's not the backup infielder anymore. He's somewhere either at third base, first base, DH. So he's getting the at bats that a regular guy would get.
Now, how do you take that bat out of the lineup?
You can't do it, and that's what makes it even more special to have him on this ball club.
Aviles pops it up. Andino looking at Reynolds. Reynolds looking at Andino. And Wilson Bettamy looking at home plate. That is a single and an RBI, and I don't think Mark Reynolds or Robert Andino has sunglasses.
Well, that's just not doing your homework right there, Ryan. There's no excuse for that. I mean, you got to always look up to see where the sun is, and if you see the field all of a sudden brighten up, you got to look up to see. I mean, you got to call timeout, get your glasses, but that shouldn't happen. That's just a total mistake on both those guys' part.
And I guess at this point, it's a matter of pride. I mean, why would they not now ask for sunglasses? What if Ryan Pena does the same thing?
Well, you're probably going to get the same result. And Wilson Bettamy just kept running. You know, a lot of guys take that for granted. It's going to get caught, but he never did give up on trying to score if he dropped the ball.
I mean, are you afraid of what the manager or the coach might say if you walk over there and say, okay, I made a mistake, I should have sunglasses on? I mean, you just lost one in the bright sky.
Let them make 2. You definitely got a problem at that point. But this is, as infielders and outfielders, that's part of your job. You got to check the sun all the time, see where it's at. High sky, whatever it might be. Anytime there's a go from cloud to brightness, you got to check the sun, and that's your responsibility as a player.
Now Aviles runs, and Jake Fox, his throw isn't even close. The Royals have stolen 2 in the first inning. They're trying to take care of this game in the first inning.
Well, the Royals are being very aggressive, and when you watch Fox come out, and basically the pitcher has to move. And Tillman's 6'6", and Fox had to step out in order to throw the ball around him on the mound. So he's got to clear the area and give his catcher a shot at second base.
Now Pena pokes it into shallow right center. Markakis is there, and that's the inning. 8 come to the plate, 4 score, and 7 years ago. Bruce Chen in the top of the first. Royals came back with 4. Wilson Betemit driving in a run and then scored the 4th and final run when a ball was lost. I don't really say in the sun, but in the brightness of the post-rain clouds. And we'll see if Robert Andino and Mark Reynolds have sunglasses on when they take the field in the bottom of the 2nd inning.
Yeah, that's one that you really never like to see that happen. That's avoidable. You just got to pay attention to conditions and everything that's going on around you as a player. So you have certain tools at your disposal. You just have to be just in tune with what's going on the field.
Ball 1 to Mark Reynolds. 3 hits last night. 3 big hits for him. Prior to that, he had been 5 out of 52. Well, Chris Getz and Mike Aviles are without the sunglasses, but Alcides Escobar has the shades on. And now Bruce Chen has 3 balls and no strikes against Reynolds.
Well, if I'm a middle infielder and I see what happened the inning before, I'm going to take mine out there regardless. But I think if it happens to them, it could happen to me just as easily.
3-1 with Jake Fox and Robert Andino to face Mark Reynolds. With 1 out last inning, Nick Markakis singled, and with 2 outs, Adam Jones singled him home. A leadoff walk, the last thing Bruce Chen wanted to do after his team gave him 4 in the last half inning. Second walk given up by Chen, and now he wants to chat with Brian Pena.
Yeah, Bruce is going to try to stay away from some of these big hitters, and he's going to need that outside corner. He just got to make sure he gets it down. He left it up to Adam Jones. He got a base hit to right, but he's going to have to find out what he can get from home plate umpire Andy Fletcher and just try to work it.
One and one on Jake Fox. A couple of former University of Michigan Wolverines represented today. Jake Fox taken out of Michigan by the Chicago Cubs, and Royals second baseman Chris Getz was taken out of the University of Michigan by the Chicago White Sox. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. There is really no wind right now. The air is a little heavy because of the rain and because of a cooler temperature. However, we're going to see how 2 statistics line up today. Bruce Chen has given up 7 home runs in now 37 innings, 36 2/3 to be exact, and the Baltimore Orioles are 4th in the league in home runs hit. Bruce is typically a fly ball pitcher. We are not playing at Camden Yards in Baltimore, otherwise the home run would be a much bigger factor than it is here at Kauffman Stadium. Still, that's the way the Orioles have gone about it on offense in their first 29 games. They don't hit for a high average. They haven't scored a lot of runs. They are last in the league in stolen bases.
I think with Bruce Ryan, a lot of times you look at pitchers, and Bruce doesn't get a lot of what he calls swing and misses. So either going to foul the ball off or put it in play. So his foul balls over the course of a game can add to his pitch count and make it a little bit more difficult for him to stay in the game. Because right now he's staying away, and they're going out just kind of flicking at it, but they're not really getting good swings on it. But this is what I say, he's got to come inside just a little bit more.
Drops down sidearm. Betemit down to second. Out there. And no double play. Bruce Chen covering. And as we told you before, that is probably the most difficult double play to turn. A right-hand throwing first baseman starting and a pitcher covering to finish.
Well, that's true. This pitch is well off the plate, but all the Oriole hitters are looking away. And this is that number 7 is way outside, and that just shows you how far they really set their sights outside. But Jake Fox really does a good job getting down the line here, and Bruce Chen did his job getting over to first base and act like a first baseman. I agree with you, Ryan. That's a very difficult double play.
You got a first baseman that has to go into a full pivot before he throws down to second, and then the shortstop has to hit a moving target. So 1 on 1 out for number 9 hitter Robert Andino. One out of 7 in the first 2 games. He led off on Tuesday when Brian Roberts was out. He's also reached with a walk. Last night he was hit by a pitch drilled by Kyle Davies. 1-1. Andino getting an opportunity to show the Orioles what he can do playing every day. J.J. Hardy, who is projected to be the Orioles' regular shortstop, he is on the disabled list and right now playing in the minor leagues on a rehab assignment. Three and 2. Good changeup. Make that 2-2.
Yeah, that pitch was set up by two pitches up and in, 2 fastballs up and in to Andino, and then he goes back down and away, and that's how you set that pitch up. The first 3 and 2 pitch was well off the plate inside. Number 4 going down and away.
A very awkward swing, and Bruce Chen has his first strikeout.
Well, I think that's set up by those pitches inside, and all of a sudden now he doesn't know where he's going to go, and so you sort of neutralize the hitter at that point. So Andino chased a ball away, and Bruce got him a strikeout.
Ball 1 on Brian Roberts, out on a pop up to second base in the first inning. And a soft liner to right field, and Frank Coor runs it down. A leadoff walk, but no runs for the Orioles in the second. Bruce Chen and the Royals enjoying a 4-1 lead to the bottom of the second inning, and we hope you'll enjoy this look back on the strangest stuck situation at Kauffman Stadium? Was it last night's ball stuck in the wall, the squirrel stuck in the outfield fence, grounds crew stuck under the tarp, or Ken Harvey stuck behind the tarp? Alcides Escobar, Chris Getz, Melky Cabrera in the second inning against Chris Tillman. One hit in 6 at-bats for Escobar against the Orioles, with a walk and a run scored, and that's drilled to left field into the corner and fair. Runner at second base, nobody out.
This fastball that ran in on him, he really did a good job getting the bat hit to the ball. And we saw in spring training, he did supply power in spring training, so we know he's got it in there, but he did a good job driving this ball in the left field corner.
And now Chris Getz, who led off the first inning with an infield single, stole second base and scored on Cabrera's base hit. He was trying to move Escobar over to third base. Four runs, 6 hits for the Royals against Chris Tillman in 1 inning and 1 batter. Up the left field line, that's fair. It's going to be 5-1, and Chris Getz follows Escobar's double with one of his own. His second double and his 10th RBI of the year.
Right, that's what you call trying to pull. And Tillman's got to wonder what I got to do to get these guys out. He makes a good pitch, and Chris Getz gets jammed on it, but slices it over third down in the corner, and he drives in Escobar with a double down the left field line.
Ball one to Melky Cabrera. Single to center field and an RBI in the first. He drove in Chris Getz, and a chance to drive him in here in the second inning. Melky has driven in 17 this year. Pickoff play second base, and Getz got around the tag. It looked like the ball was there before Chris Getz.
Well, it's almost like it gave him one hand and took it away, and then came around with the other hand, and Andino had nothing to tag with. That's one of those pickoff plays where you got to be anchored at the bag when he received the throw. Momentum brought him in front of the bag, and that was enough for Chris Getz to get back around him and be safe at second base.
So a heads-up play by Getz, recognizing that he was out and not going straight into the bag and reaching around with the left hand.
But it's almost like he gave him the right hand, took it away, and went with the left. But I think if Andino had planted himself at the bag for that throw, he would have been able to cover the whole bag. But he came in front of the bag to receive the throw, and that made it a long reach back for him to the outer half of the bag.
Well, Andino has sunglasses on this time around. And we bring that up because last inning, Mike Aviles appeared to have popped out to end the bottom of the first inning. But Andino was looking at Mark Reynolds. Mark Reynolds was looking at Andino. Neither were looking through sunglasses. Ryan Roberts has grabbed sunglasses, and the ball dropped, and the Royals scored their 4th run in the inning. And they're already up in the Baltimore bullpen. Still 1-2. We were talking last inning about Chris Tillman, and he is not the only Baltimore starter that has not gone very deep on average this year, but the entire rotation hasn't been giving the Orioles very many innings, and that of course puts a strain on the bullpen. Still 1 ball 2 strikes. Orioles starters have pitched the fewest innings in the league, and as you would expect, their relievers have pitched the most. You can only survive with that for only so long.
Well, the bullpen gets stretched out, and you do have problems, and then you're going to be forced to try to leave your starters in a little longer. But the problem is the pitch counts are so high, you have to take them out of the ball game.
Chris Getz has driven in Alcides Escobar in this inning with a double. Well, he doesn't normally swing at a pitch like that. But maybe he was just drooling to get a swing against Chris Tillman and strikes out.
Yeah, you're right about that, Ryan. Plus, he's trying to advance that runner to third base. He's trying to get the ball to the right side. He saw a ball inside, and all of a sudden he figured they could do it with that pitch was up and out of the strike zone.
So 1 away, and now Alex Gordon. He singled to right and drove in a run in the first inning. Base hit number 40 for Alex this year, and his 21st RBI. One and one. Tillman today was hoping to win back-to-back starts for the first time as a major leaguer. This is his 6th start of the year, but in 3 of his starts he hasn't even gone 5 innings. Today he's just fighting to get through the 2nd. Chris Tillman along with Adam Jones and George Sherrill going from the Seattle Mariners to the Baltimore Orioles early in 2008, with Eric Bedard going to the Mariners. Another pickoff attempt on Chris Getz, and that is a deal that has worked out much better for Baltimore. George Sherrill is no longer with the Orioles, but he had a couple of good years as their closer. Jones has been an all-star, and Tillman is just getting his big league career going. 2-2. Eight opportunities already with runners in scoring position, and there's only 1 out in the 2nd inning, and the Royals have 5 hits. They're hitting 10 points better with runners in scoring position this year than they are altogether. Luke Scott, and you can see the sunlight reflecting off of his sunglasses. So Getz remains at second base, 2 outs. And now the overcast is giving way to the sun, so it is even brighter now.
Center fielder won't like that too much. That's pretty bright right there. So the right line drive and at the right angle could cause a problem, sunglasses or not.
By the way, that glare there, that's caused by the diamonds in Frank White's World Series ring.
That's a good one. I like that.
On the ground to Andino. Royals add a run in the 2nd inning, and at the end of 2 they lead by 4. by Panera Bread Catering. Order online at PaneraKansas.com. And by Chevy. See your Kansas City area Chevy dealers. School day at the K. And the weather has changed dramatically just in the past 20 minutes from a cool, rainy, windy day. And now hardly any breeze at all. Sun is burning off the overcast, and looks like maybe in an inning or so we're going to have a mostly sunny day. It has been a mostly sunny day for the Royals so far, with 4 runs in the first inning, 1 in the second, and Bruce Chen has a 4-run lead. Markakis, that pitch was in on his hands, and he's able to stroke it into left center field. So Markakis, who was in a deep slump when he arrived in Kansas City, now has back-to-back games with 2 hits.
Yeah, Bruce has made good pitches on both those hits, Ryan. He got in on him, but the ball's been up a little bit, and he's been able to force it out into the outfield. So you ask Bruce, he'll be happy to take it. One broken bat base hit, and that's a jam shot. There's not much you can do about that.
A slow roller. Aviles gives way to Escobar, and the Royals get the force at second base. So there's that play you're talking about, Frank, where Chris Getz has to make a decision. Am I a second baseman on this play, or am I just a first baseman?
Just be a first baseman, get one and get out of the area. Don't get hung up with the runner coming down from first if you don't have to. So just catch, clear the area, and get your one out.
Good old-fashioned takeout slide by Markakis.
Well, I think the game is starting to get faster again, and I think you're going to see more and more guys taken out on double plays, where for a while there, nobody was getting taken out on double plays.
Vladimir Guerrero was ahead 3 balls, no strikes in the first inning when the Royals intentionally walked him. Now 1-1 against Bruce Chen. Bruce, I'm sure, had no problem with that decision based on their history, which is tilted heavily in Guerrero's favor. Another good pitch, and Guerrero couldn't get his arms extended. And a fly ball to right field. That's 15 at bats against Guerrero for Bruce Chen. He's only gotten him out 6 times.
Well, he just went in. He went up a little bit in and had a chance to get him tied up, and he couldn't get the bat hit out front like he normally does. And you can see how tied up he was after that swing is over. The pitch hit the bat above the trademark. No extension, no results.
And a strike to Adam Jones. He drove in the Orioles run in the top of the first inning, his 16th of the year. So Baltimore had a 1-0 lead, but the Royals came storming back in the bottom of the first. They scored 4 and just added 1 in the bottom of the second. Now no balls and 2 strikes on Jones.
Well, Bruce has really made a nice adjustment this inning. He jammed Markakis for a base hit. He jammed Derek Lee on a slow roller to shortstop. And there he tied up Guerrero inside. So I think he's really making that adjustment, pitching both sides of the plate.
That poor young lady, I think she broke a nail and she has a blue tongue. Second strikeout for Bruce Chen. Inning is over. This is Catherine Atchity celebrating her 94th birthday with us here at Kauffman Stadium. A former dedicated volunteer for Our Lady of Charity, now lives at John Knox Village, where she plans every social event for her fellow residents. Loves the Royals and visits Kauffman Stadium every day for her birthday. She is enjoying the game in the Buck O'Neill Legacy seat today. And enjoying a 5-1 Royals lead with Jeff Francoeur leading off against Chris Tillman. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tillman struck out Francoeur in the first. He has 2 strikeouts. Royals have 5 runs, 7 hits against Tillman in the first 2 innings. Royals are the only team in the American League that have not lost a series at home. Last night the Royals lost a 5-game winning streak here and still 13-6 at Kauffman Stadium. 2-2 on Francoeur. Royals putting together just 2 runs, 5 hits in last night's loss. And today looks a lot more like they played against Minnesota and in the first game with Baltimore, where they hit .336 and were averaging about 8 runs per game. Still 3-2.
I think the one thing you notice about the Royals offense this year, Ryan, is how fast they put it together. What seems like when they get, it's not like 1 or 2 guys, it's like the whole team kind of joins in. It's like a frenzy when they start hitting, and it's usually against the other team's bullpen.
Well, then answer this question, Frank. What does it mean and how does it happen when they say hitting is contagious?
Well, I think first of all you have to be swinging the bat decent to start with, but I think a lot of it is just everybody's so confident that they can get the job done. One guy's not relying on the next guy to get it done. They go up there, this guy does this job, the next guy comes behind and does this job, and before you know it, it's all rolling for you. But hitting is contagious in that everybody's having so much success that a lot of times the guy that's not swinging the bat well, he starts talking to these guys and say, okay, what are you doing different? He watches, and then he kind of picks up. But I think it is a lot of it is contagious in terms of your defense also. One guy makes a nice play, and you feel like, I got to make a nice play. So the concentration level goes higher when all of a sudden you get a pitcher on the run.
Do you think hitting can be contagious where if you got 3 or 4 guys in front of you that are hitting well, it takes some pressure off the next guy that he will relax because he doesn't feel like he has to do anything special?
Well, having a strong middle does help, and that's why when you're batting 6 and 7, you got a 3, 4, 5 guy that's driving the ball on a regular basis, on base on a regular basis, then your opportunities go up and you get better pitches to hit.
We remind you to look for the Miller Lite Taste Greatness moment later in today's game. Listen, Bedamy perhaps will be a candidate. RBI double and a run scored for him first time up. 3 hits in this series, all doubles. And now on the year he has 11. Alex Gordon leads the Royals with 13. On the ground to Derek Lee, who has 3 Gold Gloves, and he's back to the bag for out number 2.
You know, I think you can really look at the Royals' young bullpen. You know, there's competition there. I mean, these guys, they all here for the first time. One guy goes out, gets it done. The other guy is more apt to go out there and want to repeat that. Nobody wants to be the one not to get it done. So it's the competition, too, that really helps you a lot, too.
So Mike Aviles with 2 outs. And he was given a gift in the first inning. Looked like he had popped out to end the inning, but Reynolds and Andino couldn't find the ball, couldn't come together and make the play, and it dropped for a bloop RBI single. Now he rolls it to Andino. And for the first time today, Tillman faces only 3 in an inning. Fourth inning, Royals by 4. And here's a look at today's Roadrunner Turbo speed pitch comparison. Chris Tillman has hit 93. Bruce Chen 90 so far. Now fast is even faster. Double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo. Luke Scott, Mark Reynolds, Jake Fox coming up for Baltimore in the fourth. Scott popped to short in the first inning. 1 out of 7 with a home run in his career against Bruce Chen. Hitters 3, 4, 5, and 6 all have homered in the past against Bruce. Derek Lee has 2. Vladimir Guerrero has 2. Jones and Scott have 1 apiece. Didn't catch up to the fastball. 1-2.
Well, Bruce got such an assortment of pitches that he uses. He got this curveball on the outside and takes a little bit off his fastball. But you throw off speed, and at 86 mile an hour fastball looks even faster. And Luke Scott really looks to pull almost every pitch.
Wanted a fastball away, and he got a fastball away.
Well, you set that up with the fastball inside, and there it is right there. Just where Brian Pena wanted this, and this is actually one ball maybe off the plate. So if he knows he can get that against left-handers, then they should really exploit that and take advantage of it.
Home plate umpire today is Andy Fletcher. So 1 away to Mark Reynolds. Reynolds opened the second inning with a walk, his 3rd of the series. Over the outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Two and 1. Reynolds has 3 hits. All of those hits were last night, but all singles. So even with the big strikeouts, he is still a power threat. 3 home runs this year, but the Royals so far have pitched him well. And that was a good pitch, but Reynolds strong enough to muscle it over Alcides Escobar. So another case of Bruce doing a good job of getting the ball in on the hitter. This one results in a 1-out single. Royals and A's begin a series tomorrow night. Saturday is a 6:10 game, and the first 20,000 fans receive this retro KC cap presented by Sprint. The Royals will salute the Kansas City A's, and there will be appearances by Kansas City A's alumni, including Hall of Fame manager Tommy Lasorda. Also, a select group of that alumni will sign autographs.
Your thoughts?
Bigger hat? I don't know.
That was my thoughts.
Then again, that just might be the style, Frank.
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think
so
I don't think we've gone to that point yet. Almost like Hal McRae in the on-deck circle with his helmet. He's the first guy seen his helmet just cocked over his eyes like that.
4th strikeout for Bruce Chen, and the second called 3rd strike in this inning.
That's inside there. I mean, that's what Bruce is doing good today. I mean, he just stayed inside, and got his strikeout. Then he knows what hitters he needs to move the ball in and out on. He's changed his speeds. Against a power hitting team, that's what you have to do, move the ball around.
And a strike to Robert Andino, and Bruce struck him out with a very awkward swing at a fastball in the second inning. I think the worst looking Royals cap I've ever seen was worn by Lou Piniella. I mean, his hat always looked like someone had just punched his cap.
I remember that.
Remember that? I mean, it wasn't out protruding like a cap normally does. It was pushed in.
I do have a visual of that for sure. He's just trying to keep the sun out of his eye, maybe.
Yeah. One and two on Andino. The pictures of Lou Piniella that I've seen with that cap, he didn't strike me as a guy that cared too much about what people thought about how he wore his cap.
Well, McRae was the same way. Man, we used to have weigh-ins on Sunday mornings, and everybody used to wonder why you weighed in on Sunday mornings when you had a 95-degree day. They always wanted to weigh in on Saturday evening. And then Big John came in one day, and the trainer said, "John, you got to weigh." And John looked at him and said, "Hey, it ain't what you weigh, it's what you hit." So he didn't weigh in that day. But I always wondered why Sunday you need to eat more, you need to have more energy to get through the game, but they always made you weigh on Sunday morning versus Saturday evening.
I think it was Rick Russell, who was a thicker styled pitcher, and he was talking to David Wells, if I have the story correct, and David Wells was complaining about having to weigh in, and Rick Russell said, "Next time you weigh in, write your ERA next to your weight." There you go. There's a Hal McRae hat.
Yep.
I don't think it took much to knock that off of his head.
No, it was just sitting up there, and then he cocked it to the right, and he just wore it like that. And his helmet looked like that in the on-deck circle.
Now the flat bill, that's the look.
They say that's a California look. That's why the guys like it, yeah.
Well, Mark Teahan was the first guy I remember wearing a cap like that with the Royals. He's from California. And then the look these days, there it is. The sticker on the bill. What's with that?
A lot of them leave the tags on, so it's.
Francoeur backs up in right field. And after that thought-provoking discussion, 5-1 Royals to the bottom of the fourth. Today's league leaders brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. Most outfield assists in the American League. Alex Gordon, Melky Cabrera, Jeff Francoeur are the top three. So they are running him down and throwing him out. Royals scored 5 runs in the first 2 innings against Chris Tillman, and now maybe he has settled in. He has set down the last 6 following Chris Getz' run-scoring double in the second. That is out of play off the left field line, 2-1. Melky Cabrera, Alex Gordon, Wilson Betemit, Mike Aviles with RBIs against Tillman in the first, and then Getz in the second. Royals had 5 runs, 7 hits in the first 2 innings. Brian Pena flied out to right field his first time up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Three and 2. Throw back to Tillman, ends up in center field. That's not the only wild throw we've had in the past few moments. We had a bit of a wild throw after the final out of the top of the 4th inning, and thankfully everybody is smiling. Watch this. Oh man, nice hands, buddy. Please. Brian Pena walks. That's the first given up by Tillman.
Well, it always happens that I'm sure that Jeff was probably throwing the ball to the young lady, but the guy sticks his hand in there and deflects it. And you know what I always say about baseballs? You got to keep them off your lips.
Oh.
That's I mean, that guy had no clue that he was messing up something there.
Well, as we have said many times, that if you're going to come to the game and you're going to use your hands, you might want to read the instructions first. Escobar has 2 hits today, so after retiring 6 in a row, Tillman gives up a walk and a single in the 4th. The Royals have 8 hits already after getting just 5 all last night.
That's just real good hitting right here. The first time up, he turns on a ball, hits it down in the left field corner. Here, Trey takes advantage of that hole between first and second. Got him an easy base hit.
Chris Getz last time up with Escobar at second and nobody out. First tried to bunt Escobar to third, fouled it away, and then he just doubled him home, and now the Orioles think he will try and bunt again. They have the corners in. No sign of a bunt as Chris takes strike 1. Getz already has 4 sacrifice bunts this year.
Well, the way that middle order, the 2, 3, 4, 5 guys are swinging, it wouldn't be a bad idea to bunt right here, but with a 4-run lead, he's looking to try to break the game open, so a lot of managers don't want to.
Lays it down, good bunt, and Tillman throws him out. So 5 sacrifices for Getz, and that now leads the American League. So Pena to third, and Escobar up to second base.
Yeah, it's just a good time to add on right here. I mean, if you didn't have a middle of the order swinging the bats as well as the Royals, you might not do that. But this is just a good opportunity to take advantage of the back of the order, getting on base, and now you got him in scoring position and brings it back to the middle of the order and let those guys drive them in.
Infield in halfway, so they are in the baseline, not all the way to the edge of the infield grass. And that's in response or directly related to the speed of the runner at third base. Faster runner, they come all the way in, right?
Yeah, the faster the closer. I mean, you just got to ask yourself now if the Royals have a contact play on with Brian Pena, you got to make the ball go through the infield.
Melky down, no balls, 2 strikes. Drove in a run in the first inning, and then he came around to score. The Royals scored 4 in the first, and then Melky swung at a bad pitch, striking out in the second, a pitch that was about neck high. Shortens up with 2 strikes and drives it into right center field. How many hits does he have with 2 strikes? Royals lead 7-1 in the 4th inning.
When we watch him hit, Ryan, he's just a guy that has a pretty good idea of what he wants to do at the plate. You know, he gets out in front of this breaking ball down underneath his swing, and this is a ball up, and he just kind of just checks his swing speed down, just looks for the ball and puts it in play.
You'll remember this because you remember the coaching staff, but in 1999, Mike Sweeney was hitting so well with 2 strikes, and he would make an adjustment with 2 strikes. Remember, he would widen out his stance, take a little shorter swing, wouldn't swing as hard. And hitting coach Lamar Johnson said, "You're strong enough. Why don't you hit like that all the time?" As Gordon pops out to short, Alex is 1 for 3. And from that point on, an all-star was born. Melky's a different hitter than Mike Sweeney, but he makes a good adjustment with 2 strikes, and he's gotten a lot of hits, not just with 2 strikes, but with the count 0-2.
And Mike was a very good 2-strike hitter. You're right, Ryan, and he could drive the ball to right center with two strikes, like better than anybody. But you always should shorten up your swing a little bit with 2 strikes, because now you're just looking to put the ball in play. You're not looking to drive it out of the ballpark, and he just sort of gives us a great example of what that should look like.
Well, Melky didn't lose any power with the count 0 balls 2 strikes. It was a much easier swing, and we showed you the pitch before when it was a little more out of control swing on a curveball, shortened up on the next one, and enough to drive in 2 with a double. And now Melky will pick up third base. Got a good read on that pitch in the dirt. 1 ball 1 strike on Butler.
Well, it's down in the dirt, and I tell you, Fox, that's best he can do with that. He kept it in front of him, but the ball bounced off to the third base side, and Cabrera had to be going right away to make it on this play. You got to read that ball right out of the pitcher's hand in the dirt.
One and 2. Billy had a tough road trip through Texas and Cleveland. Several Royals did, but then picked it up in the Minnesota series. Now in this series with Baltimore, just 1 out of 10. He takes care of that with a shot, and you can see the paint jump up on the grass right on the line. Billy has his 9th double. The Royals lead 8-1. Ninth double this year, 150 for his career.
We can see how he pulls his hands in. This is what good hitters do. Ball inside, they can pull a hand in, they can hit that ball down the line and keep it fair. And Billy hits it right on the chalk line down the left field line and gets himself an RBI and a double. You see Cabrera comes in and scores easily. And Billy cruises in the second.
Another short outing for Chris Tillman. He's out with 2 outs in the 4th. And it's former Royal Josh Roop and the Chevy call to the bullpen. Cinco de Mayo. The Royals lead 8-1 in the bottom of the 4th inning. Saturday, NASCAR on Fox moves to Darlington and goes under the lights, where Denny Hamlin will try to defend his title and take home his first checkered flag of the year. Coverage of Sprint Cup Series racing begins Saturday with the pre-race show delivered by Pizza Hut at 6 p.m. in high definition on Fox. First pitch from Josh Roop is in the dirt, and Billy Butler moves up to third base. Did that get the umpire on the foot? Maybe it got catcher Jake Fox on the foot, but you hardly see a runner advance on a wild pitch that goes back towards the mound. Yeah, got Jake Fox on the foot.
Well, that was one. He had those slider sinker, and Jake Fox didn't get a glove on that ball at all.
Ninth game for Josh Roop, who pitched last year with the Royals, part of the year with the Royals. 2-0 on Jeff Francoeur. Billy Butler still alive. Barely.
I guess guys don't know how fast they really can move until they really have to move, and Billy had to move on this line drive. Wow. I would have preferred him turn his face to the left field side and not to the ball coming at him, but that's why they always tell you when you come down the line, come down in foul territory, and when you go back in fair territory.
Three balls, two strikes. Francoeur struck out twice against Chris Tillman.
Well, the one area that Francoeur is really quick at is on that ball about a little above the knee on the inner half. His bat is really quick in that area.
Inner half, drops it out into shallow center field, but Adam Jones runs it down, and that's the inning. The Royals add 2 more runs, and now they lead by 7.
Is that a backup breaking ball?
Game winning streak here at home. Only came up with 2 runs on 5 hits, and now 8 runs on 10 hits, and they've only batted 4 times.
Well, they got a long way to go. So if you're an offensive player today, you're looking for more at bats, and they're really just looking to have a great day. The Royals have come out and got 10 hits already in this game, and the extra base hits are what you're looking at a lot closely in this game right now.
So a big lead for Bruce Chen. 3rd time through the order for the Orioles. Ryan Roberts has popped out, lined out. 0 for 2 today, 1 for 7 in the series. Trying to lay down a bunt, down by 7. But the Orioles with some power. They need base runners. Trying to get some guys on in front of Markakis, Lee, Guerrero, Jones, Scott, Reynolds. That is a play that normally you would say goes against the book. bunting for a base hit, down by 7. Former Royals manager and now Hall of Fame manager Whitey Herzog would say there is no such thing as the book.
Well, I agree with that. I mean, you got to get back in the game, and you got to get back in the game the best way you can. So you hit it right on the head. You get Roberts and Markakis on ahead of those guys in the middle. I mean, 2 and 3 run homers to get you back in the game pretty quick.
Two balls, 2 strikes.
I know Whitey would tell us, Ryan, he'd say, I don't care what the score is in the first inning. I want you guys to play your game for the first 7 innings. And if you haven't caught up by 7, as long as you make good decisions, you'll never hear from me. But after 7, it's my game if we haven't caught up. So it gave you a chance to show him that you knew how to play, and kind of similar to what Ned Yost has done here with the guys as far as the base running goes. Hey, you guys go out there and run the bases and use good decisions, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. And it's really paid off for him.
Five strikeouts for Bruce Chen.
Bruce is probably going to pitch with a lot more confidence right now, but you see right on the outer half of the plate, goes inside with 2 of them, outside, so he's all over. He's pitching both sides of the plate, which is what he has to do, and change speeds, and he's able to get Brian Roberts to strike out right there.
Nick Markakis has 2 singles. He scored the Baltimore run back in the first inning. And now Bruce with 3 1/3 scoreless since that run. Markakis began this series 0 for his first 6. That made him 12 out of 71. And now he is 4 for his last 6. 2 balls, 1 strike. Trying to bounce back from his worst big league season as far as home runs and RBIs. Left center field, Cabrera and Gordon coming together, and Alex reaches up for the second out. And all of a sudden a partly sunny day. And it looks like more blue sky and more sunshine is moving in from the west.
Looks good. This is baseball.
There's a look from, that would be the north, looking south southwest, so you can see to the right side of the screen blue sky that will be replacing the clouds. That's a shot from the east looking west. One and one on Derek Lee. Two balls, 1 strike. Left field, well hit. Alex Gordon is there. So it's a quick top of the 5th inning for Bruce Chen. Bottom of the 5th inning. Royals lead 8-1. Trying to take 2 out of 3 from the Baltimore Orioles. Here's today's AT&T trivia question. What hurler, which is pitcher, holds the Oriole record for the most games won as a teenager? Ryan Roberts handles the ground ball from Wilson Betemit. Betemit is 1 for 3. A little different approach today. We're going to give you some options. Dave McNally, Wally Bunker, Jim Palmer, Steve Barber. One of those guys, at least, that I know of, is in the house. Wally Bunker was a former Royal. Started the very first game in Royals history back in 1969. Mike Aviles hit by that pitch, so he's on for the 2nd time today. Facing Josh Root, the former Royal who pitched in 11 games last year for KC and 40 at AAA Omaha. That hit 2 guys. That got Aviles and the home plate umpire Andy Fletcher. That got Fletcher on the right arm. Fletcher does not get first base.
First aid, but not first.
Brian Pena chased one down in the dirt. Brian walked leading off the 4th inning. Royals turned that into 2. Melky Cabrera hit a 2-run double, getting Pena and Escobar to the plate. Roberts and Andino dropped it. They're going to say that Aviles is out, that was not a drop on the toss from Roberts. It was a drop transfer from glove hand to throwing hand.
Well, you're right, and Andino's having all kinds of problems, but here he catches the ball with one hand, but he misses.
Boy, I don't know.
He misses in the transition. I mean, he had one hand. Now he's trying to bring it back to his bare hand, and that's where he makes it. He couldn't make the transition right there. So looking from that angle, it's just more of him just not getting the hands out front and making the transition from the glove to the hand.
So Brian Pena at first with 2 down. It's been a good day for Alcides Escobar. 2 hits, 2 runs scored. 1-1. Josh Roop is originally out of the White Sox organization. He was a 3rd-round pick of theirs in 2002. Never got to the big leagues with Chicago. He did pitch parts of 05, 06, 08, and 09 with the Texas Rangers. 1-2. When you think about a region of the country that produces a lot of professional baseball players, you might think of California, Arizona, Texas, Florida. Josh Roop is from the Hampton Roads region of Virginia Beach area, and there is a long list of major leaguers from that part of the country. That is caught at short by Andino. Royals are scoreless in the 5th.
8-1 lead.
We'll get to that in the bottom of the 6th. This is our Sonic game recap. The Royals with 8 runs on 10 hits. 4 runs in the first inning, 1 in the second. And the most recent, this 2-run double coming up from Melky Cabrera in the 4th inning. Melky Cabrera has driven in 3. Alex Gordon 1, Billy Butler 1, Wilson Betemit 1, and Mike Aviles. Getting kind of greedy there, Frank. I mean, you want the Sonic Slam inning. I mean,
I know, I'm excited.
Give the Orioles a chance to bat every now and then.
Well, we don't want them to hit today.
And they really haven't so far against Bruce Chen. Just 1 run on 4 hits. Bruce has walked 2, one of them intentional. That was to Vladimir Guerrero in the first inning. Guerrero's also flied out to right. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, Royals fans, we have your Mother's Day gift covered. Join us on Sunday, 1:10 game with the Oakland A's, and the first 10,000 ladies receive a Royals tote bag presented by Hy-Vee. So bring mom out to the ballpark.
Yeah, we hope it's a nice sunny day. That'll be a great day for Mother's Day.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Guerrero will be followed by Adam Jones and Luke Scott. Chris Getz was playing Guerrero up the middle, so he's right there. And there's 1 away in the top of the 6th. Let's answer today's AT&T trivia question. I think this is a trick question. I think Al Broughton expects us to go with Jim Palmer because he is in the house broadcasting for the Orioles. So I'm going to go with the former Royal Wally Bunker.
I'm gonna go with Steve Barber.
Ha! Take that, Al. Nice try, buddy.
The Jim Palmer was just too obvious.
Maybe Wally Bunker's here somewhere. No? Line to Alex Gordon, and he runs it down. That's the second time in the last 3 hitters that an Oriole has hit it right on the nose against Bruce Chen, and Alex has run it down in left field.
Well, Alex gets such a great jump on these line drives, and Derek Lee hit him 1 to his right, and then we saw there he got another great jump.
Okay, there we go. There's Wally Bunker in the house. It's some pictures of him. There's the team picture of the original Royals, 1969, and there's Wally Bunker. So he is in the house. That's out in the Royals Hall of Fame. First pitcher to ever deliver a pitch in Royals franchise history. Royals won that game. Was it against Minnesota or the Angels? It was an extra inning game. It was against the Minnesota Twins. Kevin Shank remembers. I think that was his 30th birthday. What I remember about the story from game 1, a very young Denny Matthews was working with Buddy Blattner. And our format on radio is once we get into extra innings, we alternate innings. So Buddy Blattner was the lead broadcaster. And when they got to the 10th inning, Denny took over, and Denny was the first person to ever say Royals win on a broadcast. Bruce Chen, after giving up a run in the first, now has 5 straight scoreless innings.
Well, we're delivering the Sonic Slam right on time this inning, bottom of the 6th. And our contestant today is Ella Smith from Shawnee, Kansas. If the Royals hit a home run this inning, Ella will win $200. But if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Ella will win $25 grand from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
Chris Getz, Melky Cabrera, Alex Gordon in the 6th inning. Getz with 2 hits, a stolen base, a run scored, an RBI, and a sac bunt, which set up 2 more runs. And he's gotten his uniform dirty.
You can say he's having a good day.
That's a guy who can be proud to turn the uniform in when the day's over. Facing Josh Roop, his teammate from last year. I think that's more from a dive on the infield, or it might have been on his stolen base in the 1st inning, but dirtier than normal because of the rain. So the dirt more moist than it normally is. A lot of rain this morning, and it ended a little bit after 1 o'clock. Getz makes it a close play on a ground ball to Roberts. Today's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefebvre with Frank White, Joel Goldberg, producer Kevin Shank, director Steve Kurtenbach, associate producers Al Broughton, sneaky Al Broughton, Sam Abramson. The producer of Royals Live is TJ McGinnis. Celebrating a couple of birthdays today, Frank.
I think Joel. This is
Joel
Joel's birthday today.
And Sam Abramson. They were born not only on the same date, but the same day.
Wow.
Sammy is 4 hours older in some ways than Joel is. In other ways, decades younger.
Well, first off, Sammy has no gray hair, so he would look like my younger brother if that's possible. I got a nice birthday email from Sally Katz this morning, the mother of Sammy, wishing a couple of guys on the crew a happy birthday. I'm hoping Sammy got more than, an email today from his mother. But I did check. I wanted to know. And on May 5th, 1972, my birth certificate says I was born at 1:56 in the afternoon, and Sally says that Sammy was born at 8:16 in the morning. So the more mature Sammy Abramson.
We'd all trust you a lot more, Joel, if you could produce a copy of that birth certificate.
Oh, we're going to go down that road.
Where do you claim you were born?
I was born. Now, Sammy was born at St. Luke's Hospital, so his mother says here.
You were born in Philly, weren't you?
In Rancocas Valley Hospital in New Jersey, right outside of Philadelphia.
Okay. Well, happy birthday, Joel.
Was that enough proof for you?
Yeah. I don't think you have to be born in this country to broadcast for Fox Sports Kansas City.
Back to you.
The only thing we require is that you speak at least one language fluently.
Well, there is the New Jersey language or the Philadelphia language.
Right.
That's sort of its own thing.
So you're trilingual in that regard.
I was in Wisconsin long enough. That's its own language.
Yep. Not recognized, but it is a language.
That's kind of Canada.
Yeah. Come on. How many times did you hear that in Madison? 1 ball, 2 strikes.
We'll have the lovely New York accents on display at Yankee Stadium next week. That's always a treat.
Alex drove in his 21st run in the Royals' 4-run first inning, 1 for 3 altogether. I was talking last inning about Josh Roop. Speaking of different parts of the country, from the Virginia Beach region. You know who else is from there? B.J. Upton, Michael Kadire, his teammate Mark Reynolds, who's playing at third, David Wright, Justin Upton, Ryan Zimmerman, And Scott Sizemore, who's in the Tigers organization. They are all from that area. As Alex strikes out. And for Josh Roop, that is his first.
Well, Alex didn't seem quite sure whether this was a strikeout or not. This ball ran a long way. The Roop is normally a sinker baller, but he got this one up a little bit.
So 2 down, and with Melky at first, Billy Butler. Slider for strike 1. So all those guys are from that area. Josh Roop either played with or against B.J. Upton, Michael Kadire, Mark Reynolds, and David Wright. How about those Little League teams? 0-2 on Billy.
It's a lot of fun baseball going on down there.
Man. Ryan Zimmerman now with the Washington Nationals, so he would be closest to that area. On the ground to Reynolds, another guy from Virginia Beach, and in time to throw out Billy Butler. So at the end of 6, Royals lead 8-1. Lead by 7. Pepsi Max is proud to be the official drink of the Fox Sports Kansas City broadcast booth. Look for these special edition Frank White Pepsi Max cans at your neighborhood Hy-Vee. Frank will be at Hy-Vee in Independence this Friday from 11 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. and Hy-Vee in Shawnee this Saturday from 11 a.m. to noon. So stop by, you'll get a free can of Pepsi Max. Say hi to Frank. Go get you a can of Frank. Betamit looking up into that bright sky, and the pop fly carries him back into fair territory. Well, Mark Reynolds is out on 1 pitch against Bruce Chen to begin the 7th inning.
Well, that's what you call a major league pop-up. He's well in foul territory, and all of a sudden the ball always takes you back to the foul line. That's why I say they always tell the first baseman, as soon as the ball go to the rail. But they go to the rail, but the ball's always going to end up back behind them, and they end up backpedaling, falling down, things like that. So you just always got to let the ball get as high as it's going to go. When it starts to come down, then you get in position.
Jake Fox behind the plate today. Matt Wieters getting the day off, and that's lifted to center field. Melky with the sunglasses on still needs his throwing hand for a little extra help to shade his eyes, and Jake Fox is 0 for 3. Remember, you can take a group out to Kauffman Stadium and you will save big. Groups of 20 or more get a significant discount compared to single game ticket prices. For tickets, call 816-504-4040 or visit royals.com/group. There is a big group here today It is school day at the K. I'd imagine that group is starting to thin out. There was a sea of yellow school buses when we arrived this morning. The local Fox station, Fox 4 in Kansas City, hosting school day at the K. And their on-air talent will come out and entertain the kids, and they give a little lesson on weather, which is, I think, just as fun for the adults as it is for the kids.
Yeah, I really like it myself, and I was really impressed with all the crew today. I mean, they worked it all through the rain and everything, so they didn't let the weather stop them from showing the kids all the neat things that they had to show them today.
Two and two on Robert Andino.
I mean, this is actually in the rain while it's actually raining. That was one of my favorites right there.
Andino lines it to center field with 2 outs. See if we can go back to that one. There's actually a funny story about that. I think that's describing how, you know, like a thunderhead and how it can expand so quickly. I remember when they first started doing that, they did it on the grass with no plastic underneath the table, and it burned a big hole in the grass in front of the Royals dugout. Needless to say, ever since then it has been on the dirt. Bruce Chen has given up 1 run, 5 hits in 7 innings. .100 pitches in 7 innings might be it for him. A 7-run lead to the bottom of the 7th inning as we review our Sprint You Call It question. The strangest stuck situation at Kauffman Stadium last night, or the squirrel stuck behind the fence that, remember, the grounds crew stuck under the tarp, or Ken Harvey stuck behind the tarp. And the appropriate music to go with it. And the winner is Ken Harvey by 12 points. Poor Ken Harvey. He was a good guy.
He was a great guy.
Just was in the wrong place at the wrong time on a few occasions. This was the tarp the very next day, and his teammates had plenty of fun with him, reminding him what was fair and what was foul. And they had the body outline, the crime scene outline of where he went over the tarp. And Dino charges in on the high bouncer from Francoeur, so a rare hitless game for Francoeur. He had hit in 4 straight. One away in the bottom of the 7th inning. Check in at today's game with At Bat 11 to receive valuable offers and enjoy game replays, stats, and more. Get At Bat 11 by texting At Bat, one word, to 42682. Message and data rates may apply. Unfortunately, we don't have the portion of the video where Tony Pena comes out to rescue Ken Harvey, which added some drama to the situation.
Well, you thought that Tony was going to suffocate behind that tarp the way he jumped on there and put his back against the wall and start trying to move that tarp. Wow. But that's why we have memories to talk about.
Ken Harvey received a Purple Heart, and Tony Pena got a Silver Star for that moment. Jeremy Jeffress getting ready for the 8th inning. Betemit doubled, drove in a run, and scored in the 1st inning. After winning Game 2 last night, and with the Orioles winning 6 of 9, feeling pretty good after getting a run in the top of the 1st inning today. The Royals ruined that with 4 in the bottom of the 1st, 1 run in the 2nd, 2 runs in the 4th. And all the Orioles have done so far in 7 innings: 1 run, 5 hits against Bruce Chen. 2-2 on Betemit. Royals are the only American League team who have not lost a home series, and they're 6 outs away on defense from taking this one 2-1 against Baltimore and going 4-2 so far in the homestand. Josh Roop has been in there since the 4th inning. The Royals scored all 8 runs, all 10 of their hits against Chris Tillman in 3 2/3 innings. Three balls, 2 strikes. Rain to start today, and we had a 35-minute rain delay, and it's turned into be a very pleasant day, but now there is more rain on the way. Kevin Shank, who studied meteorology at KU, says the rain is right around Kansas Speedway. Betemit is down, 2 away in the 7th inning. 2nd strikeout for Roop.
Well, Josh Roop delivered this right on the outside corner, like a slider that caught the out the number 7 right there, right on the outside corner. That's a tough pitch to hit right there. So you hope you can foul it off if it doesn't fool you, which I think it did with Wilson Betemit on that pitch.
So apparently we just had a window of blue sky, because here's the front edge of the next front of weather coming through.
Well, that's been a nice window.
Sure was.
It's like 2 different days already. Working on number 3.
Maybe the weather will browse Nebraska Furniture Mart for a while before continuing on to Kauffman Stadium.
Give us a little time to get out of here.
Mike Aviles 1 for 2 with a pop-up RBI single in the 1st inning that Reynolds and Andino lost in the sun. Mike has hit in 5 straight games, and remember, his long slump that began at the end of the 1st homestand went through the 1st road trip until the final day of the 1st road trip. He snapped that in Minnesota. Now all of a sudden he's hitting 267.
Well, he's just slowly moving up. You know, Mike's going to hit around 290, 300. He's used to being up in that area. That's not new territory for him. But I think the thing that's really impressed me about this season so far is how when he squares the ball up, he really drives the ball in the alleys and extra base hits. And I don't think you're going to find even a more confident guy. I mean, even when he was 0 for 18, you know, he said, I didn't think I was in a slump. You guys did, but I didn't. But, you know, most guys are 0 for 18. They know they're in a slump. So they're trying to figure it out. But so supremely confident.
And sometimes there's some truth that goes with that. I mean, you may not be getting hits, but that doesn't mean you're not swinging the bat well. And then there's a slump where you're not getting hits and you're not even coming close to getting hits.
Right, that's you have nightmares at night when you go home. You just don't know how to figure it out, and you're trying so many different things. You overthink, and it never works out.
And now he has 2 hits today. Well, he will add on to 267. Aviles at first with 2 outs.
Kev keeps his ball down below the knees, and Mike does a great job when the ball's moving into him. That's when he's at his best, and this ball shoots through the infield into left field.
So after 2 runs, 5 hits as a team last night, the Royals with 8 runs, 11 hits today, and they're not even done with the 7th inning. So they're getting closer to, or right at about that average for the first 4 games of this homestand, where they hit .336 and were scoring 7.8 runs per game. One ball, 1 strike. When the game started, and even after just 5 hits and 2 runs last night, the Royals are 2nd in the league in team batting average, 2nd in the league in on base percentage, 2nd in runs scored, 8th in home runs, and they lead the league in stolen bases. They have 2 more today. 2 balls and 1 strike on Pena. On the ground, and Lee gets a nice big hop. He goes to the bag, and we go to the 8th inning. Royals lead by 7. With Baltimore, and now Pinera will show us the American League scoreboard. Tigers beat the Yankees, 3 RBIs for Brennan Bosch. Tampa Bay over Toronto, so now the Rays are 1 game back in the East. The Angels beat Boston after that long game last night that ended 10 minutes to 3, and then a day game today. Cleveland is at Oakland, no score in the 5th inning. Texas is at Seattle, and at the moment Texas is 1 half game back of the Angels in the West. Chevy called to the bullpen, and it's Jeremy Jeffress for the 8th inning. Nick Markakis, Derek Lee, Vladimir Guerrero coming up.
You know, you probably had some guys for the Red Sox that probably slept in the clubhouse last night. They had to come right back and at it today. So I've seen that happen before too.
Ball 1 to Nick Markakis. The Red Sox tied that game last night, and they had long rain delays, but they tied it in the 8th inning at 1:30 in the morning. Some were cheering, some were not cheering. I'm sure you get to that point where you can roll out all the cliches you want to, but at some point games just need to come to an end, and they went 13 innings and were finished just a little bit before 3 a.m. A reminder, on the next homestand we'll get a glimpse of interleague play. The Cardinals are in town for 3 May 20th through Sunday, May the 22nd. Great tickets still available for all the games. 1-800-6-ROYALS or Royals.com. Inside, ball 1 to Derek Lee. Let's watch how Jeremy Jeffress goes about it in this inning. You may have read the story in the Kansas City Star this morning. And Todd Palmer talking about how Jeffress is trying to work in 2 different curveballs. We know he's got the heat with the fastball, but curveball that is a strikeout curveball, and then a slower curveball that he uses for control to get ahead, and then the harder one to put the hitters away.
Yeah, basically everything he has comes up to the plate the same speed, with the hard curveball, and it's hard to get someone to swing at that hard curveball first pitch. So you have to have something that you can throw. They're looking for the fastball, so they're not going to swing at that get me over curveball. So if he can develop that, that's going to make him much more effective, and he can save that harder one for a strikeout pitch.
Popped up, and a long run for 3 Royals. Chris Getz is there and makes the play. Running onto the wet warning track, 2 down in the 8th inning.
First basemen don't like to catch that ball there. That's one that they're not quite under, and the ball's going down the line. The second baseman has the best angle, and they usually end up circling a ball like this. Chris did the right thing, called him off and made the play.
This would be a good matchup. Power against power. There's a slower curveball at 79 miles an hour for ball 1. Last year with the Rangers, Vladimir Guerrero had 6 home runs, 15 RBIs against the Royals. That will be in the seats. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, that's a ball that the fans that kept it in the stands have been in pretty good shape, but it falls down into the mud, and somebody will still be appreciative to get it.
Overthrew it, and he almost pinned Brian Pena to the backstop.
Almost had Gumby arms to catch that one.
Two balls, 2 strikes. That's not where the target was. Brian wanted that down and away, but with that kind of heat, you can miss the target.
Well, that's true. The only when you throw that hard, accuracy is really not what you're going to have right away. That's something that Jeremy definitely has to develop as he goes. But in that zone right there, it's going to be hard for him to get hurt at 98 miles an hour.
Aviles cuts in front of Escobar, and Jeffress has a scoreless 8th inning.
We'll also have for you Boulevard Royals Live. How about Bruce Chen's afternoon? We'll dissect that. And the Royals a bit doubles happy today. We'll break that down, plus reaction from the clubhouse and analysis from Paul Splittorff coming up on Boulevard Royals Live. Ryan?
Thank you, Joel. Jeremy Jeffress faces 3, retires 3 in the top of the 8th inning. Josh Roop really taking one for the team. And we showed you earlier about how the Orioles starters have pitched the fewest innings combined in the American League. So a big strain on the bullpen. Roop has been in there since the 4th. It is not an outing for him that has included much pressure with the game being out of hand at the moment, but trying to carry this thing through the 8th inning and give the rest of the bullpen a rest. Grounded to Andino, and Escobar is 2 for 4. And Buck Showalter comes sprinting out of the dugout, and with Chris Getz coming up, he's going to make a pitching change and bring on a left-hander.
He's really got to be happy with the job that Roop has done for him in this ballgame.
3 2/3 innings. Clay Rapata will come on for the Orioles. Line of thunderstorms is approaching from the northwest, so the Royals leading by 7 certainly don't want to give away any at bats, but they'd like to get this inning in the top of the 9th over before rain comes to Kansas City again. We had rain from about 9:30 until a little after 1 p.m., which resulted in a 35-minute rain delay today. Clay Rapata throws a strike to Chris Getz, who's had a good day. 2 hits, a run scored, an RBI, a stolen base, a sacrifice bunt. Oh, 0-2.
Yeah, Chris has had a great day. I mean, the hits, he put 2 runners in position that with a bunt that did score.
Caught by Roberts.
So he'll take a nice day home with him today.
Orioles will head back to Baltimore. The Royals start a 3-game series with the Oakland A's tomorrow night at 7:10. Melky Cabrera has driven in 3. Singled in a run and scored in the first, and with the count 0-2 in the 4th inning, hit a 2-run double. Royals scored all 8 runs against Chris Tillman, who lasted just 3 2/3, and now Josh Roop out of the bullpen just went 3 2/3 innings. 1-1 on Melky. Melky with 5 runs driven in this series. That gets him up to 19 for the year. Driven into the corner. 20 for the year. Home run number 3, and Melky has 4 RBIs today.
See, he has some really quick hands. This ball is in, and look how quick he gets to his pitch inside. He just dropped the bat head right down on the pitch and takes it right down the line. And sometimes the best home runs are ones where you don't have to swing hard. You just meet the ball at the right time and hit it in the right spot in the ballpark, and that ball went out quickly to left field.
I don't know if this has changed or not, but when the series began, the Royals were the only team in the American League that had 3 hitters with at least 20 RBIs. Now they have 4. Melky Cabrera joining Alex Gordon, Jeff Francoeur, and Mike Aviles. Is that a version of the sprinkler dance?
I don't know.
One ball, 2 strikes. Alex drove in a run and scored back in the first inning. 1 for 4 today. Two and 2. Tomorrow it's Sean O'Sullivan going up against lefty Gio Gonzalez. 7:10 first pitch. Royals Live begins at 6:30. Royals had a run in the bottom of the 8th and lead by 8 as we go to the 9th. Nine runs for the Royals, 4 driven in for Melky Cabrera. He's responsible for the Chevy plays of the game.
He's had a heck of a day, Ryan. He's got a base hit to center to drive in a run there, and then he comes back with a double that drives in 2 more. He sandwiched a walk in between, and here he gets a home run in left field to finish up a great day for him today. Yeah, that might be the sprinkler.
Royals with 9 unanswered runs. They were down 1-0 at the end of a half inning. 4 in the first, 1 in the second, 3 in the fourth, and 1 in the 8th. Jeremy Jeffress trying to close it out. Faced 3 and retired 3 in the 8th. He'll get Adam Jones, Luke Scott, and Mark Reynolds here in the 9th. Bruce Chen 3 outs away from his 4th win. 7 excellent innings. Gave up 2 runs, only 5 hits, and struck out 5. Bruce had not gone more than 5 1/3 innings in his previous 2 starts. And the 2 starts prior to that, he had gone 7 innings or more.
Well, he had a real good plan coming into this game. He knew the guys he needed to go in on and the guys he needed to go both sides of the plate on, and he just kept them off balance, jammed some guys, and just really made some good pitches today.
And going back to last year, this will be Bruce's 11th winning decision in his last 13. There's that slower curveball. Let's go 1-2 on Adam Jones. He drove in the Orioles run in the 1st inning, getting Nick Markakis to the plate. 1 run, 2 hits for the Orioles in the 1st. No runs, 3 hits since. They have had 1 hit since the 4th inning.
Yeah, this 1-2 count would be a good time to use that real hard curveball. He can show them both of them in the same at bat.
97 miles an hour, 2-2. Still 2-2. Bruce Chen, by going 7 innings, gives the Royals bullpen a break. Hopefully they will only need 1 reliever today. Three and 2. 99 on that last pitch.
Sounded like it. I wonder what it feels like to throw the ball that fast.
I think your hand gets hot.
Oh man, I don't know, but you can hear the heat trail when it goes by you at the plate, though. I bet his hands get hot when he snaps off that real hard curveball.
Remember Omar Vizquel once said, and this was early in his career, somebody told him that when you face Nolan Ryan and when he grunts, it's a fastball. And Omar said, well, that's just great, because by the time he heard the grunt, the ball was already in the catcher's glove. So just a little useless information. It's not going to help you at all at the plate.
Not at all.
But they'd figured out that curveballs and changeups did not require a grunt. A fastball did. Jones keeps fouling everything off to the right field side.
I have to think Nolan wouldn't care if you knew or not. I mean, he just reared back and let it go. But he kept a lot of those good fastballs on the outer half, and hitters did a lot what Adam Jones is doing right here, just fouling it off in the seats to the right side. And then he just come back, had a real good curveball similar to what Jeffries had, and you get check swing strikeouts on that pitch.
Another foul ball.
You know, when he went to the National League, to me, that's when he really learned how to pitch, because he developed the changeup and he developed 2 speeds on his curveball, and he did start to move the ball in and out, where in American League he was mostly on the outer half of the plate all the time.
And wild, right?
Wild up in the zone. I mean, it wouldn't be unusual for him to walk 3, then come back and strike out 3.
And suddenly it has become ball day at Kauffman Stadium. Oscar Gamble with the great line. I've said this so many times about facing a young Nolan Ryan before he went to the National League and had better control. What was a good day against Nolan Ryan? 0 for 4 and don't get hit in the head.
And he had a lot of cushion.
So anyway, yeah. Now that everybody has a souvenir foul ball, courtesy of Adam Jones, we can begin working on finishing this top of the 9th inning.
Well, it might be time to throw old Captain Hook up there and, and see what you can do with that pitch. If he elevates a little bit more, he might get away with the fastball, but Adam Jones has his fastball measured in terms of speed.
I love a parade. To Jeffers' credit, he just continues to throw strikes. And Adam Jones has not proven that he can get around on the fastball.
No, I just got him measured in terms of speed. He got him on the in half. He fouled that one off, and you know he's been pretty much on the outside, but has thrown a couple inside that have been fouled off also.
This is pitch number 13 in this at bat. A fair ball. Jeff Francoeur gets up from a nap and brings it down. And now Luke Scott, he is 0 for 3. It's not a critical point in the game, but you have pointed out before that a pitcher has a hitter overmatched by a pitch. And Adam Jones, overmatched might be strong, too strong, but he wasn't getting around on the fastball. And then for some reason they would then go to an off-speed pitch, whack, a double to left field, or maybe even worse than that. And Jeffers recognized that he had Jones beat with the fastball, and he stayed with it.
Well, when you see the right-handed hitters fouling it off over their dugout on the right side, you do have it beat. Just a matter of location at that point. But I mean, with the score the way it is, you just got to make him show you that he can hit it before you make a change. I did think they might try a curveball at some point, but he's determined to be aggressive, and you can't fault him for that. And with the score the way it is in the game.
1-1 on Luke Scott. 0 for 3 today. Royals are 2 outs away from getting back to 3 games above 500. One and 2. Cleveland is in front of Oakland 2-1 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Royals cheering on the A's today before they come here, and if they could defeat the Cleveland Indians, the Royals would be down by 3.5 games. How about that swing?
Wow, that's being all tied up, and it's set up by the curveball, fastball, another curveball, and he's really got him pretty much where he wanted him. He can pretty much go with any pitch he wants now. This fastball on the inner half, and that's usually a pitch that Luke Scott really tries to turn on, but that curveball has got him kind of buffaloed right now.
Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. Before being swept in Texas, the Royals were the last major league team to lose a series, any series. And now they're the last team standing as far as a losing series at home in the major leagues. 2 outs away from improving their home record to 14-6. Off of Jeffers' glove. Good athlete, runs it down, throws out Luke Scott.
You always like to see your pitchers turn into fielders after they get the ball hit back to him, and Jeffries did a good job swatting it down. And then he, like you say, Ryan's a good athlete. He bounces on this ball and makes a nice throw to better meet at first base. Pitchers always, right-handed pitchers always say it's nice when that ball is hit to the glove side and you don't have to reach back across your body, and then glove side you got a chance to make some of those plays.
So 2 down to Mark Reynolds with a walk and a single today, and that's across the knees for strike 1 in 96. Got 3 members of the United States Navy cheering on the Royals behind home plate. No balls, 2 strikes. And in light of what happened in Afghanistan earlier this week, during this homestand, some members of the United States Navy presented the colors before the national anthem. And nowadays, when you hear Navy, immediately you think Navy SEALs and Navy SEALs Unit 6 or whoever those guys were that went in a helicopter, or in Pakistan, excuse me. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Curveball hit on 1 hop to Escobar. The Royals are the first team in the major leagues to have 14 wins at home. That's worth a high 5. Royals win the series with the Baltimore Orioles 2 games to 1. And Frank, a nice bounce back for them on offense. Held down by a good pitching performance last night. Jake Arrieta, 2 runs, 5 hits. 9 runs, 12 hits today.
Well, what a great day for them today. But it's been a great bounce back homestand so far from that 0-6 road trip. And they've shown that they've got a ton of character. And I've been able to sit back and watch these guys really get better right before our eyes. And everybody seems to be performing. And to come out today and do what they did after a game last night, they've got to feel good going into this weekend series.
And that weekend series will be against the Oakland A's. Royals are 4-2. They've taken 2, make that 5-1, taking 3 from the Minnesota Twins, and now 2 out of 3 from the Baltimore Orioles. Down to the field, and here's Joel.
All right, Ryan, thank you very much. A couple of hits on the day for Chris Getz. Had a sacrifice as well, nice and dirty with the weather here today, but most importantly, a win. What's been the key to this turnaround after a rough road trip now, being back here at home?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is just coming home to our home fans. We really enjoy playing behind these people, and I don't know, we have a lot more fun when we're here, but we also got to go out there and battle on the road as well and collect some wins when we're there, but we certainly enjoy being back here.
14 home wins, first to reach the 14 home win mark in the major leagues. I got to assume that getting those hits early on, taking some pressure off of the whole team's got to help too.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the idea, to put runs on early. We know Bruce is going to go out there and battle and keep us in the game, which he did, and he does very often. We continue to hit the ball, have good at-bats, and came out with a W.
You guys had all those doubles today, too. I mean, obviously everybody's hitting the ball well, but how about just the aggressiveness of this team? How much is a part of the aggressiveness as well? So many guys stretching out those doubles.
Yeah, I mean, we've been stressing that since day one, running the bases aggressively, even if sometimes we're running some outs. But that's what we need to do as a team to win ball games, and we're going to continue to do that.
All right, great job today. Thanks, Chris.
All right, thank you.
All right, that is Chris Getz. Couple of hits, sacrifice, and another Royals win at home. Ryan and Frank, let's